Hi, and welcome to A Class of Their Own podcast, revealing the human stories behind their name. We will hear honest and intimate reflections from our guests who, despite their circumstances, shape a world that reflects their unique visions of success. Join me, Mira Magecha, to learn from these inspirational people and take the first step to make your own change. The last day of 2024 is here. We've got guests on A Class of Their Own podcast who share their top tips for setting themselves up for success. They talk about flow, they talk about structure, they talk about vision boards, journaling, you name it. The guests are sharing their expertise on how they set themselves up for a success. So how do you prep for 2025?
Two questions. First one, what do you want to achieve? Second one, how are you going to achieve it? So write a list of all the things you want to achieve, personal and professional. And then the second thing you need to do is start asking yourself how you can achieve those things. What do you need help with? What do you need to do yourself? What do you need to prioritize? What do you need to put into your calendar throughout the year so that you can achieve those things? Simple as that.
And do you start putting them in your calendar already at the start of the year?
My 2025 is planned in September.
Okay. I need to get my laptop out and start planning.
Because I think this is the one thing that people make a mistake with. If you wait until December the 31st, it's already 2025. You know, what you're doing now impacts the next 90 days. So I start September, October time really thinking about 2025 because I know that what I do at the end of 24 will impact naturally in January. Yep. There'll be a knock on, there'll be a ricochet. So you're already going to start the year with more intention if you end the last year really thinking and focusing on what you want that year to look like. So then you automatically have that momentum. You have that oomph from December to go into January. So I would say definitely, what do you want to get out of 25? And then really think about how you will get there. Some of that will be delegating. Some of it will be doing it yourself. Some of it will be prioritizing, signposting times and months. And some will actually be removing things because it's not a priority. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Is there any advice you would give anybody else who's thinking about how to change careers or take a big leap and have faith in themselves?
You just got to do it. Like, courage is what it takes. And surround yourself with the people who are doing it. Surround yourself with positive, uplifting people who have got your back. Yeah, I think that's really, really important.
How do you usually prep for the beginning of a year? Or do you think the beginning of the year is a good time to start thinking about what I want to achieve over the next 12 months?
I used to do that. But if we're doing that for the rest of our lives, we're waiting until the end of the year to start again all the time? Absolutely not. I start again throughout the year all the time. And when I feel myself coming off, I go, right, okay. I get things down, get the pen and paper out. What do I want to let go of? What am I working towards? What do I want? I do this probably every few months, probably like 4 times a year.
So when you say what you're letting go of, why are you letting go of anything?
There could be some things letting go of negativity. Could be the party sesh has kind of got out of hand a little bit. I'm like, okay, I need to rebalance here. Just anything I want to let go of. And it doesn't even necessarily need to be what you let go of. It could also be,
what do you mean?
Okay, what do I need more of? Exactly. So it's like, okay, I've let the gyms, don't need to wait to the start of the year like everyone does to do the month January, which I've never actually done.
Oh yeah, I hate the gyms in January.
I do more like sobriety and gym stuff like throughout the year, like a few weeks here, a few weeks there. Now I've got more into a rhythm. Like I said, this year something's changed. I did this detox and now it's become a lifestyle rather than doing a detox and then going back to partying or doing a detox. I've done that my entire life.
Yeah.
Something changed this year. And that was the detox. I hadn't done a detox since I was like 12 for a month, like really, a whole month since I was the age of 12, drinking.
I don't have a particular thing that I do every year. Mm-hmm. I like to spend a Christmas with family. And as I'm answering this, I'm wondering why I don't do it. I like to, like, I go through my life with a general intention, but I don't like to do it in a formulaic way.
Okay.
So I'll kind of go into next year. I know that all the subconscious things that I'm kind of thinking and that are bubbling or whatever, they're there anyway. And I'll kind of just go into next year with that general intention and figure it out along the way.
How do you go about knowing what that intention is or developing that intention further than where it is today?
Yeah, of course, I'm going to say I could give you loads of answers about lists and this and that and the other. And I get all of that.
Yeah.
A lot of that's going on in my head all the time. So I'm kind of, I think I'm neurodiverse. One of our kids is, and like, it's been a whole journey for our family. And like, the more I hear about people that are neurodivergent, like there are a million things going on in my head all the time. Like, we're having this conversation, I'm also noticing a billion other things, so I just kind of, like, it's like a stew, like loads of stuff comes out, but it's sort of, a lot of it happens underneath the surface. I mean, I do make lists and I do that, but there's no particular order to it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, waves are coming all the time. Ideas are coming, desires to do different things are coming. They kind of, just getting sifted and brewing. I love to do gardening. Lockdown, we were just before lockdown, we moved house and we were lucky enough, we have a really lot of space outside, and I got into gardening. And so when I'm out in the garden, my mind kind of switches off, which I love because I love doing physical stuff, but it's going on,
Yeah.
And, people would say I work super hard, and I guess I do, but in bursts. Like, I feel like I don't really work that hard.
Yeah.
But to other people, I do. Yeah. So I just keep moving forwards, and it's not a very brilliant, like, clippable answer that you could use for anyone else, but that's what it is for me.
This episode is brought to you by Play for Change. Play for Change brings together leadership coaching, expert facilitation, and builds communities. They help craft real connections, spark learning, and turn play into powerful experiments to enable better relationships with yourself and others around you. To find out more, go to playforchange.co.uk. Links are in the show notes below.
I always like that reset at the beginning of the year, because where I am today is because of a New Year's resolution from 2020. So what I try to do is always reassess, am I doing things? Why am I doing what I'm doing? And is there anything that I'm doing now that I don't really want to do? And I think there's always an element of people think about what do they want to do, rather than also looking at what don't I want to do. And that elimination stage is quite important too, of next year, do I want to be doing this? Do I want to be doing that? And it's assessing my time to look at, what can I get rid of this list? What do I want to make more time for? But in order to make more time, you've got to get rid of something else. And I think that's the first step that a lot of people miss. It's about, okay, I want to go to the gym, I want to do this, I want to do that. But they don't think about what they're going to sacrifice to get that.
Yeah.
So that's something how I kind of stage it is, first of all, look about what do I want to cut, and then what do I want to add. And then also, I think it's looking at who are the people that maybe I don't spend enough time with, that I want to spend more time with. What are the relationships that maybe over the year decayed a bit, that I regret, that I don't want to be like that. And to work out, okay, I want to make more time for those people, or for those instances as well. So again, ironic considering what I do, but I'm happiest when I'm in a room with one person or a couple of people. We're just chilling. We don't need to talk, but just having that environment. Because I would say naturally, deep down, I'm an introvert, despite basically talking for a job. And it's making more space for that's been really important to me. So this year, I've done a blanket, no replies to the weekends for anything to do with work. And that's something I'll be thinking about quite heavily next year, is how do I put in more and more boundaries? Because I get to meet lots of amazing people, but then if all of those relationships are an inch deep, it's just overwhelming.
Yeah.
Whereas can I focus on a fewer people, but really have deep relationships with them? And anybody who is actually as cool as I think they are will probably understand that that's important to me.
Of course.
Rather than being like, oh, you haven't met me, you haven't done this, you haven't done that. Everyone's busy, and it's not because there's people who are think the maturity thing now, it's not people are good or evil. It's just there's so much going on. If you direct your energy in too many different directions, it just dissipates. You've got to think about what's really important to really go deep on and focus on that.
You just mentioned having the boundary of weekends and no email replies or replies. What is it that you spend most of your weekend doing?
Napping. You think I'm joking, but no. So what do I do at the weekend? So I've got a nephew and niece, so I like spending time with them. And that just, in the world that I'm in, it can very easily focus on how much this, how much that. And when you're playing with a kid, you just change everything. It's just, you realize what's really important in life in many ways is that joy that like no event that I do is ever going to be as successful as when you make a little kid laugh.
Yeah.
I think that's just a different, to me at least, different kind of joy. And it's also, I play football every weekend with my uni friends. So again, that's a really good grounding aspect for me because most of them don't know what I do and they don't care what I do. And I really love that. I don't know what most of their jobs are. I don't need to know what most of their jobs are.
It's just getting together, you kicking a
We
ball
have a
about.
laugh. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a classic guy therapy thing of get together, play a sport, but during that element, you're with other people and you just get that release.
Yeah.
So that's really important. And then trying to meet up with friends, doing things with family, but it's taking that time out a bit. And I'll do some work in terms of admin behind the scenes stuff, but it's a blanket rule of no meetings, no calls, and the email side of things, because it's a challenge because I know that when I first started out, especially when I was a side hustler, when I was emailing people in the evenings and the weekends, and now that I'm a full-time person, I don't want to be doing that.
Yeah.
But it's also a phrase I learned recently, I can't remember who said it, is your emergency is not my priority.
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor. If I don't reply for 5 minutes, the world isn't going to end. And being okay with replying to people a bit later, I've got autoresponders on all my social media now. And that's what I'm trying to get a lot better at, is not trying to have a savior complex or hero complex, whatever it's called, because definitely when I was younger, it was, I need to help everybody. I need to help everybody. Whereas actually, if I try to help everybody, the amount it decays and burns me out means I'm way less useful overall. So a lot of my time now is focused on the one-to-many side of things. So for example, guesting on a podcast, you tell your story once, lots of people hear it. If everybody who wants to hear my story has an individual call with me, I just repeat myself over and over and over again. And I think this is one of the challenges for people in an industry like ours or doing something themselves. You end up telling your story so much, you get sick of your own story.
Yeah.
So it's just...
And how do you keep it interesting to yourself?
And it's where you need that space of... It's like seasons, right? It's like if you're explaining what you're doing or whatever you're doing, you can do that for a bit, but you also need to make that space to do other things to make your story interesting for yourself again.
Yeah.
If you stop that exploration side because you're just teaching. So it's that balance between exploration and teaching.
Yeah.
You've got to have a good balance there. If you stop exploring, stop doing new things, you get sick of your own teaching.
Yeah.
And if you're sick of your own teaching, you're not as useful. So, but it's always hard because for each individual, they're like, oh, but you didn't reply to me, or you didn't do this, or I just want to pick your brains. And it's, well, one person, that's fine. But in reality, it's never one person, because if you've had the idea to message me, obviously other people have had that idea too.
Yeah.
And I come back to the idea, it's not assigning good and evil. I completely understand why people would ask, but it's up to me to show the boundaries and expectations, because most people respect that.
Yeah.
But if I don't show those boundaries and they step over them, whose fault is that? It's my fault for not showing the boundaries.
Yeah.
I know the start of the new year is a good time to sort of reevaluate and think, what am I going to do now? But because of the nature of what I do, I'm constantly thinking of all of those questions all the time.
So every few weeks, it's a new year.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is, I guess my head is always buzzing with like things that, projects that I want to do,
And how do you kick those off? So forget the fact that it might not be in the new year, etc.
Yeah.
But how would you start afresh and go, oh, there's all of these new things I could be doing, and this is a new time, or this is the right time?
Yeah. So it can be. Things can come out of the blue, like somebody just calls me and
proposes something and presents me an opportunity, or it can be like you're thinking of something and it's sort of marinating, and then you'll meet this person who somehow it can come about because of
The connections.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's often organic. It's sort of happened. Like, I feel like largely it happens kind of organically for me, rather than having a really structured like plan.
How I'm preparing myself for 2025 is to remain authentic, I think, and to focus on relationships. I never really did that enough because I was a creative and I was always doing the work. My greatest joy came from executing. Like, I never used to want to reply to emails. That all just seemed like a hindrance to me. Oh, I don't want to write this email. Got to go on this call. No, I just want to do the work. Just, put me on set. When we used to do jobs, I'd be working with our assistants, getting the lighting done. Amit would talk to, the team, the clients a lot more because I just enjoyed the creation. So now I'm going from that to now having to build relationships, taking people out to dinners and lunches and coffee meetings, going to networking events. I never really had to do that. I had agents, that was never really my thing. But now I do have to do that. So that's a major focus for me, is that, okay, I'm now scaling up this company.
And building a different kind of skill set.
But I really enjoy it. And it's, like I said, it's just awoken this new man inside of me who I really enjoy it. And if anything, I think I'll probably talk too much. I might have to rein it in a little bit. Because like some people look at me and I'm talking to them, they're like, what? And I'm like, sorry, I just like to chat. So finding the balance of that.
Is there anything else you're doing to prep for 2025?
What else am I doing? I found journaling really helpful. So I journal quite a lot to make note. Vision boards are really important. Thinking about what I want.
Do you use a particular tool to vision board?
No, I like seeing stuff, right? So I'll put something together on like in Photoshop and I'll print it out and I just stick it on my wall. Then I can see what I want. That's something I'm prepping for the next year. Making sure I nurture the relationships of the people that I'm working with, I think is important. And so it doesn't just feel transactional.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I'm constantly trying to put effort into, that, I don't just want it to be like, I've done business with you now and now I'm walking away. I want to create friendships. So that does take effort because you've got to think, okay, I haven't seen that guy for a while, or this person, what can I do? That takes a lot of effort, a lot of bandwidth to be able to think of more than just what you're doing together work-wise.
Yeah. That's
something I'm trying to make sure I'm better at. And then the dad project is going to be big next year. So making sure I make enough time for that. And that I learn more about how I can help others, to educate myself. When I go to the gym now, I don't listen to music. I just listen to podcasts. And I find that I'm learning a lot more from there. And then I can share that information with people. And I tend to do that even on my Instagram. I put out little videos where I talk about stuff, creative things that come to my mind, work stuff. Sometimes it's stuff to do with, being a father. I like to share that. So I'm doing that. I want to build the Naroop, the brand, a lot more. Because like I said, I feel like I've got a sense of purpose, and enough people have told me that they're inspired and motivated by what I say, that I feel confident to share it out. So that's a big focus for next year. So
amazing.
They're my goals.
If you enjoyed that conversation, please share A Class of Their Own podcast with your friends and family. Subscribe, follow and like. It really helps us continue to grow. Keep being you through connection, learning and play. You are a class of your own.